In the midnight glow where the stars align, we lose ourselves in the rhythm divine. Underneath the sky painted with dreams we're chasing.
Hello, friends. This is Mari. I just wanted to jump in here briefly before we get to the episode because I realized that I was just so excited to tell you all about evolutionary astrology and deep dive into the meanings of each of these nodal pairings that I completely skipped over even explaining to you exactly what the lunar nodes are and how to find them in your chart. So, before we officially begin, what are the lunar nodes? Well, to begin with, they actually aren't physical objects like a planet, star, or asteroid, but rather a mathematical point in space. They mark the two spots where the moon's orbit around the Earth crosses the ecliptic, which is the apparent path of the sun through our sky. The places where these two orbital paths intersect are called nodes. When the moon crosses from the south of the ecliptic to the north, that's the north node. When it crosses from north of the ecliptic to south, that's the south node. These points are always exactly 180 degrees apart in the chart, forming a straight line or an opposition. Eclipses, which are a pretty important event in astrology, happen when the sun and moon align near these nodes, because that's when their paths line up perfectly. The nodes slowly move backwards through the zodiac. They're always moving backwards in retrograde motion. About 1.5 years per sign, completing a full cycle through all 12 signs in 18.6 years. So now that you know what the nodes of the moon actually are, how can you find them in your chart? Well, you're going to look for a horseshoe shape symbol. The upside down horseshoe shape is the south node, and the right side up horseshoe is the north node. And without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of As Above, So Within. I am Mari.
And I'm Jody. And today we're going to highlight Mari's expertise or niche in astrology, and she's going to be talking about evolutionary astrology.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. It is my greatest love in astrology. I love every modality of astrology, and I will take in as much information as I can from traditional techniques into more modern and psychological techniques. But my heart is in evolutionary astrology because it is the thing that impacted me the most and felt very aligned. There was a definite resonance in my soul when I heard the story from an evolutionary astrology perspective. So I'm going to just kind of dive into what evolutionary astrology is, give you a little bit of background, and then we're going to go into the 12 nodal pairings, the 12 nodal stories, which in evolutionary astrology, the nodes of the moon tell the story of the soul. So, evolutionary astrology, there's kind of two different schools of thought, and that is Jeffrey Wolf Green and Stephen Forrest are the two primary different schools of thought around evolutionary astrology. They have similar foundations, but a slightly different way of going about it. My teacher, Kay, is of the Stephen Forrest lineage. She learned from him directly. And his focus is definitely a little more empowering, in my opinion. I've looked into both. And Jeffrey Wolf Green really likes to go deep into trauma. And, he comes from a very Scorpio perspective, I would say, around the way that he teaches, which if you're into that really deep transformational work, which I am as well, he is a great resource. But Stephen Forrest takes that and makes it more about transformation through love, not fear. And it's very much empowering you to be in co-creation with your chart, and that the chart isn't deterministic. It's a mirror of your growth and what your soul is choosing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about worldview. The things that I'm going to be talking about with past lives might challenge, depending on your personal worldview and your belief system, it might challenge your belief system if you don't incorporate past lives into your belief system. However, these energies really echo in our younger years. When I talk about past lives, you can also look at that as in your younger years, in your early life, there'll be a resonance because there's an echo of these energies in our early years. And the North Node is where our soul is calling us towards. And when I talk about our soul, I'm talking about our higher self. You may have heard the term higher self. And what that really means is that we believe we are a divine, multidimensional being and soul that wants to experience this 3D physical reality. And in order to do so, we have to kind of almost feels like we're separate from our higher self. Our higher self and our soul lives within us. That is the true you, who you really are. But to come into this physical existence, there is almost a forgetting of the truth of our soul. And that is why I love evolutionary astrology. because it brings people back into the remembrance of why you chose to come here. And so again, there's another underlying belief that we choose this. We choose this life and we choose every life, and that we're coming to Earth as like an Earth school, if you will, right? And we're moving through these different grades, I guess you could call it, as we evolve. This is it's an opportunity for evolution and the growth of our soul, and to experience something wild and wonderful and painful and beautiful and all the things that human life brings. So I kind of have this mental picture. And again, even when I talk about the past life story, it's painting a picture of the energetics or more the archetypal images, right? When I describe a past life, it might not be this is exactly how your past life looked, but the archetypes, the characters, the energy of that, we kind of paint a picture. And so I do that a lot because I'm a very visual person. So I kind of have this picture of my higher self, my soul in the interlife somewhere, sitting down with my guides and planning out like, okay, I've spent lifetimes in this type of energy. Let's move towards its opposite, its polarity, to be a well-rounded, evolved soul. And so you sit down and you go, all right, we're headed in this direction. And then the astrology map is a guide into remembering. And the beautiful thing about all of this is you don't have to know anything about astrology. You don't have to know anything about your chart. And these energies are still happening. There's this subtle whisper and call from your soul that just feels right when you move in the direction of your North Node, whether you ever know about it or not. But when you actually get to know these things, it gives you a leg up because you have this point of focus and a lot more tangible knowledge around what your soul is asking. And when I do a reading, we tie in basically all of the planets into your nodal story. For today, we're just going to look at the nodes, the different nodal pairings. And again, we would get even more specific in your own personal chart because we would know what house these are in. And we would look at the ruler of the South Node to tell us more about who you were in a past life, other planets that might be conjunct or talking to one another, like we talked about with the aspects, square to, opposition, etc. All of the planets are talking to each other and they're coloring in this whole story of who you were and who you are becoming. So a full reading is even more extensive. But for today, we're just going to look at the nodal pairings. And before I jump in, Jody, do you have any thoughts or questions that I didn't cover?
No, I think you've covered it all so far. I mean, I'm sure I'll have questions along the way.
Okay, let's dive in. So, just a quick review. The South Node is where you've been, your soul habits, your survival strategies, and your karmic residue, meaning the energy of your South Node is who you've been for so long. And again, has this echo in your younger years. And we tend to fall back on sort of the shadow side of that particular sign because it's kind of our knee-jerk reaction. It's where we're comfortable. And so again, it's about survival. So we kind of retreat back into that South Node when we're feeling threatened. And there's usually a karmic piece of it too. Karma just being energy that is carried from one lifetime to another. So the North Node is where your soul is growing, stretching, and in what you are becoming. It's your Dharma. The axis shows polarity, but neither one is good or bad. It's not that South Node is the bad and the North Node is good. You have these superpowers and these gifts that come from your South Node, but it's about integration and evolution and moving towards balancing those and learning more about your North Node, because it's going to feel more foreign when you're younger. And the older you get, the more that North Node is going to just ring in your soul as like, you know what? That does sound like what I want. That does sound like what my soul is asking from me. So the first pairing we're going to look at is a North Node in Aries and a South Node in Libra. You are coming from lifetimes of relating, pleasing, compromising, and maybe even hiding behind others. Libra is all about relating and about partnership. So you're moving into a life that requires boldness, independence, and courageous self-assertion. In the past, you may have been the peacekeeper, the diplomat, the supportive partner. You mastered the art of relationship, beauty, and social grace, and these are still your superpowers. Remember that every single one of these South Nodes comes with beautiful gifts. However, in this lifetime, your soul is asking that you not abandon yourself along the way, but instead tap into your own authentic desire, without having to check in with someone else if it's okay. Your soul has chosen to learn how to regain your self-sovereignty, to make decisions without validation, and trust your inner compass and inner fire. It's about going within and asking, what is it that I truly desire? You're here to reclaim your will and step into authentic individuality. even when it feels uncomfortable, which again, in your younger years, it probably will. There's a tendency to want to people please when you have the South Node in Libra. So yeah, just it doesn't come naturally to you. So, some practical application for the North Node in Aries. Practice saying no without explanation. No is a full sentence. And I know it's going to be hard for you, but it is. Spend time alone and learn to enjoy your own company. Take yourself to the movies, take yourself out to dinner by yourself. Get to know yourself outside of others, the reflection of others. You don't need others to mirror back to you to get to know yourself. Engage in solo pursuits, hiking, traveling, creating. Take the lead in a project or relationship, even if it feels unfamiliar. Journal with prompts like, what do I want, separate from what others want from me? And release guilt around choosing yourself. Libra South Node really has a tendency to hold guilt around choosing what they want over others. And it doesn't have to be in a selfish way, right? You can still take others into consideration in the large scale, but just start making decisions based on what your inner compass is telling you. And I like to do a little affirmation or a mantra for each nodal placement as well. So for Aries North Node, my truth is worthy of action. I am not here to disappear into others. I am here to become fully myself.
Ooh, that's good.
I like the affirmations. It just gives you something tangible to kind of hold.
Right. Yes, I agree.
Okay, so North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. This is a soul who is on a journey from intensity, emotional survival, possible early life trauma, and karmic entanglement. And you're moving towards peace, simplicity, and self trust. With the Scorpio South Node, the past holds themes of deep transformation, power struggles, and often a life lived close to crisis. There's really no way to sugarcoat the Scorpio South Node. It's coming from lifetimes of some intense things, either psychologically or emotionally, that leave you exhausted. And there's always, with a South Node in Scorpio, there is a sense of fear and distrust often of others. There may have been emotional enmeshment, abuse, manipulation, or an obsession with control, all born from a very real need to survive in uncertain circumstances, right? These are reactions born out of survival and self-protection, which served you well in the past. But in this life, the soul is invited to slow down, find peace and beauty, let go of unnecessary intensity and drama, because we have a tendency to go back to what is familiar. So sometimes, even though you don't really want intensity and drama, you're drawn back to it because it's what is familiar. And it's subconscious. These are subconscious programs that are running. So to bring this to the front of your awareness and to realize that you may be drawing drama and intense situations into your life because it's familiar, and to understand that your soul is saying it's okay to live a life of peace, pleasure, steadiness, embodiment. Taurus is earth, so living a very human, embodied existence, and self-worth. Ultimately, it's about understanding that you are worthy of all of those things. You are worthy of peace, of joy, of beauty. And the Taurus North Node path is about rooting into the earth and learning that peace isn't boring. It is sacred. That's another thing that I tell the North Node in Taurus, like, it's okay for you to be a little bit bored. Because it's so unfamiliar for the Scorpio. It's like Scorpio South Node, these people are not bored. It's upheaval and intensity and transformation and alchemy, And so what do you mean? Just sit and watch the grass grow? That's boring, but it's good for you. It's good for you, I promise. Okay, so some practical application for the North Node in Taurus. Establish grounding rituals, gardening, cooking, body work. Create a peaceful, beautiful space for yourself. Focus on financial stability and practical self-sufficiency. Practice gratitude for simple pleasures. Let go of crisis that is not yours to solve. You don't need to get involved in everybody else's drama. You really don't. Engage in creative or tactile activities like pottery, painting, nature walks. You really are here to be human, fully embodied human. And an affirmation for the Taurus North Node is, I am safe to slow down. Peace is my power. I release the chaos of the past and root into my worth.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So if your North Node's in Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus,
Yep.
so do you look to Venus?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. In the chart. Yep. So To color in the story of past life, we would look at the ruler of the South Node and any planets that are in association with that by aspect. And then to color in more fully where you're headed or what your soul is calling you towards, yes, you would look towards Venus as the ruler of the North Node, what house it's in, any planets aspecting it, and again, the houses of where the nodes are as well. So where is the North Node located and where is Venus located? And that tells you even more specific about what will bring you peace, what will feel right in your body and in your soul. Yeah, great question. Okay, North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. With this placement, your soul is evolving from lifetimes of exploration, belief-based certainty, and wide-ranging philosophical pursuits, higher learning, religion, those types of things. And you're moving towards a life of curiosity, presence, and conscious communication. So in the past, you may have been a spiritual teacher, traveler, truth seeker, really focused on grand ideas and abstract truths. You spent lifetimes gathering wisdom and knowledge and were very much in the pursuit of expansion. Your soul now craves integration in the here and now, being in the present moment. This lifetime is about trading the pulpit or podium for open conversation. So sometimes Sagittarius South Node can be a little preachy. They feel like they already know the answers and they're here to tell everybody else what the answers are. But actually, this lifetime isn't about that. It's actually about starting back at square one and tapping into the inner child curiosity and really finding wonder in everything around you and learning something new, but not necessarily to go and preach about it, but just for the sake of learning, like a kid does, right? You're meant to ask questions, not just deliver answers. To learn as much as you teach and to find meaning through connection rather than dogma, spiritual dogma, rules and restriction. This is how it is, right? It's okay to ask questions. Stay open, stay curious, be flexible about your ideas and ideals, and find joy in the day-to-day moments. Gemini is good at being present and curious about what's around them rather than always thinking about the big picture and what's next. So some practical application for this one. Practice active listening in relationships. Before thinking about how you're going to respond and what you know about the subject, just stop that thought and go, okay, I need to actually pay attention to what this person is saying. Journal questions instead of conclusions. It's okay to just journal questions that you have without needing immediate answers. Teach through stories and shared experiences with your community. Gemini is very relational. It's air versus fire, right? So air is about relationship and communication. Fire is more about the soul and the self experience and your own transcendence. So we're stepping into an air sign that is more about others and shared things. Explore local communities and shared conversations. Observe without judgment, become the witness, and tune into your inner childlike wonder. So, an affirmation for Gemini North Node is I don't need all the answers to grow. My presence, questions, and wonder are sacred. Okay, North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. You are a soul that is transitioning from lifetimes of hard work, dedication, duty, achievement, and emotional restraint. So now your soul is inviting you into a life centered around feeling, nurturing, caring, and inner connection. With a Capricorn South Node, there may have been past lives of being the responsible one, holding up the structure, maintaining control, and achieving external success at the cost of your own emotional needs. You've mastered strength, discipline, ambition, but now your soul wants softness. So again, you have these incredible gifts of discipline and dedication. But one thing too with Capricorn struggles with emotions. They are uncomfortable with a lot of emotion because they need to stay focused on the goal. If you think of the goat climbing the mountain, they're trying to get to the peak. There's a goal in mind. There's no place for emotion here, right? And
Right.
Cancer is asking you to soften and to allow for feeling. It's also very relational. So your journey is about coming home to yourself. Cancer North Node invites you to reconnect with your heart, to create safe emotional containers, and to let others in. Be vulnerable. It's a path of emotional courage and connection with others. And you don't have to let go of all of that drive and ambition, but it is asking for balance. And instead of that 80-hour work week, it's okay to punch out and go home to your family and to relate and to love and to nurture and yourself and others. So, some practical application: create rituals of emotional care, journaling, moon baths. We talked about moon bath last week. Yes. Incorporate essential oils, everyone. Family meals, come home for family dinner. If you're the workaholic, right? I'm not saying that that's every single person with a Capricorn South Node, but if that is you, it's okay to punch out and be part of the family unit. Cancer is incredibly relational, specifically with family. It's that mothering, nurturing, caring for the family unit. Build sacred space at home that reflects your heart. Practice asking for help or sharing feelings vulnerably. That's a tough one for you guys. I promise it's incredibly healing. Tend to your inner child with compassion. Let go of the armor of competence. Practice simply being. And an affirmation is, I am safe to feel. I am worthy of care. I release the pressure to prove myself and soften into who I truly am. Okay, North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius. Your soul is coming from lifetimes of group identity, service to the collective and humanity, intellectual objectivity. So you're very mind oriented. We're talking about an air sign, and even detachment from emotions as a self protective armor. You are moving into a path of heart centered self expression, creative courage, and radiant individuality. With a South Node in Aquarius, there has been comfort in being the outsider, the visionary, the observer, safe in the realm of thought, mind, analysis, and collective ideals. Aquarius is very much driven towards, again, kind of a bigger picture and what is best for humanity and the collective, and they're very much in service, which are all wonderful things, but sometimes at the expense of their own needs and getting to know themselves in the heart. It's very mind. So Leo is all about the heart. So now your soul's evolution calls for embodiment. The Leo North Node journey is about stepping into the spotlight, but not for ego, but for soul visibility, to know thyself and shine your light. Leo is ruled by the sun. So you're here to lead with warmth and trust that your unique voice matters. Leo is incredibly loyal and very heart-centered. They're loving and caring and joyous and really tapping into your inner child again, because Leo is so playful and fun and creative. And that Aquarius South Node can be pretty serious. And so it's okay. It's okay to play. It's okay to love and laugh and create. Some practical application. Practice creative self-expression. So art, dance, storytelling. Allow yourself to receive compliments and recognition. That's something that Aquarius is not so comfortable with. It's okay to be recognized for your gifts and your talents and who you are. Say yes to leadership roles that make you visible. Leo does like to be seen. And that doesn't mean it has to be a giant stage. It could be even in a small group of people. You don't have to be an actress on the stage to be a Leo. Journal on what brings me joy. Where am I holding back my light? Surround yourself with people who fan your inner flame and speak from the heart, not just your intellect. And an affirmation for you, Leo, North Node, is it is safe to be seen. My light is a blessing, not a burden. I lead with love, joy, and authenticity. North Node in Virgo, South Node in Pisces. Your soul is evolving from lifetimes of spiritual sensitivity, boundless compassion, and mystical immersion into a life of grounded discernment, daily devotion, and sacred service. So with a Pisces South Node, you've known the realms of dreams, transcendence, and divine union. You've really walked the path of the mystic or the spiritual teacher, but you may have also struggled with boundaries, disillusionment, or escapism. Those are all kind of shadow characteristics of Pisces. It's easy to get lost in other realms and to lose sight of being grounded in this physical 3D world. You're trying to get back to spirit when your soul in this lifetime is asking for you to be human. Earth sign, again, that North Node in Virgo. So in this lifetime, your soul is learning to weave spirit into form. You're taking the gifts that you have from that Pisces South Node and you're bringing them into form, into tangible reality. The Virgo North Node path is about refining your gifts, bringing your gifts into the physical world, being in service through healing yourself and others, and bringing the ethereal and spiritual into the everyday. You are here to make the mystical practical. So, some practical application here is set up a sacred daily rhythm, rituals, planning, body care. Virgo loves a schedule. Virgo loves tangible physical things. So, by ritual, I mean taking that spirituality and maybe doing smudging or pull cards, right? These are physical things in your hand, tangible items. And body care, again, baths and nice lotions and things to take care of your physical body. Take care of your body in a physical routine. Virgo rules the sixth house, and it is about daily routines, our health routines, physical movement, nourishing our body with good food, that type of thing is going to be really grounding for you. Create healthy boundaries in relationships and spiritual spaces, because Pisces doesn't understand boundaries. Pisces is everything, everywhere, all at once. Pisces, there are no boundaries. It's the entire ocean. It is so expansive and all is one. So Pisces doesn't understand boundaries. But this Virgo North Node really needs to adopt boundaries, especially with others and with yourself. Focus on an area of service and refine your craft. Virgo is about service to others, and you have so many gifts to give with that Pisces South Node. Some journal prompts for you would be, where am I leaking energy? Pisces is very sensitive energetically, and oftentimes they're not even aware of how much energy they're picking up from others. And what do I need to bring into form, into tangible reality? Integrate your intuitive gifts into real life healing or helping work. So your affirmation is, I bring heaven to earth through intention and care. I am here to heal through presence and purpose. All right, North Node in Libra, South Node in Aries. So now we have got the flip on the first pair that we did, right? So now we've done the first six, and now the last six are going to be the reverse of those first ones. So your soul is evolving from lifetimes of fierce independence, bravery, impulsive action, and self-reliance into a life that is centered around relationship, harmony, beauty, and conscious collaboration. So with an Aries South Node, you've known the battlefield, whether that's literal or emotional. Aries is the warrior, right? So you've learned courage, self-starting energy, how to survive on your own terms. There's a lot of strength there. But in this lifetime, you're not meant to go it alone. Your Libra North Node is calling you into sacred partnership, from me to we. You're learning the art of compromise, not always an easy thing for you, Aries South Node, I know. Productive communication, valuing others' opinions and thoughts, and growing alongside others. It's about learning that strength can be shared and you don't have to go it alone. So there's actually a relief in that. When you push past the, I feel like I need to take charge and I'm right part of you, there's actually a relief and I don't have to carry everything on my own shoulders by myself. I can share responsibilities. I don't have to do this by myself. So, some practical application for you would be practice active listening and reflective dialogue. And that's reflecting back to someone like, here's what I heard you say. Because you're so used to just going your own way, not necessarily active listening, right? Collaborate on projects rather than working alone. Use conflict as an opportunity to grow, not win. That's a big one. You don't always have to win. It's okay. Surround yourself with art, beauty, and peaceful environments. Seek out one-on-one relationships that help you see yourself more clearly, because truly others are a mirror of ourselves. So relationship with other people is such a gift because we can learn so much about ourselves through relationship. And so let the people in your life be a mirror back to you and be receptive of that instead of defensive, which is easier said than done, just as a human. Not just for you guys. It's true for all of us. Let's be honest. I'm not singling you out and picking on you. These are great practices for all people. Okay. So an affirmation for the Libra North Node. I am not alone. My power grows through connection, harmony, and love. You are powerful, but your power grows through connection, harmony, and love. All right. North Node in Scorpio, South Node in Taurus. You are evolving from lifetimes of living a very human, grounded experience. You valued comfort, simplicity, beauty, and material stability. But your soul is asking you to move into more emotional depth and spiritual, psychological work. This is a path of transformation and spiritual rebirth. With the Taurus South Node, you know how to create safety, accumulate resources, and remain grounded. Those are beautiful things. But this is your comfort zone, and that comfort may have become a cocoon. For Taurus South Node, there's often a fear of entering uncharted emotional waters, the uncharted emotional waters of Scorpio, because Taurus doesn't like to be uncomfortable. Let's be honest. They like their little safe space, their comfort. So the Scorpio North Node calls you to release attachment to what is known and step into the mystery. It's a journey of surrender, of alchemical growth, and of merging with life's deeper truths. You're here to transform and to do the deep work, to really face those fears.
I'm going to chime in here because this is me. So I feel like I can relate to it more. So, a couple questions. As somebody with my North Node in Scorpio and South Node in Taurus, I do absolutely recognize when I go back into that comfort of Taurus. And so, my question is it your whole life from birth forward you get all these opportunities to embrace that North Node, or does it come later in life? Or
That is a great question. I believe that these opportunities will show up your entire life. When you are younger, you might not recognize the opportunities or you might run away from them. And it's particularly in this case, right? Because it might come in the shape of something that scares you, that is asking you to be vulnerable, that's asking you to get to outside of your comfort zone. So often in our younger years, though the opportunities may present themselves from the universe, because that is in line with what your soul has been asking, you're less likely to embrace these things when you're younger because it's too scary, it's too foreign. That's not me, right? Because we really identify with our South Node. My teacher Kay talks about that we are more our South Node than we are our Sun, oftentimes,
oh wow.
because we're talking about lifetimes of this energy. You're coming in with a lot of that South Node energy. So you're like, well, this is just who I am when you're younger. But as you grow and as you mature and as you evolve and these opportunities present themselves, it feels there's this subtle pull inside of you. And I don't know how else to explain it because it's like this whisper from your soul. Like, try that thing, push yourself a little bit, experiment, do something that scares you. And you're going like, wait, that's not me at all. But it happens whether we're aware of it or not. So yes, definitely as you get older, you start to embrace more of the North Node lessons. And now having an awareness piece around it gives you even more opportunity to, when that next scary thing comes, say yes. And I'll jump into some practical application now. For this nodal placement, explore shadow work, do therapy, and depth psychology. It's a scary place to go deep into the mind for a Taurus South Node. They would rather just go out in the garden and forget about it. I don't want to go there. Like that's too scary. But really exploring those depths will start to open up doors. And honestly, what I've seen from this placement is when you walk through that door, when you start to do that exploration in the shadow work, it actually is pretty exciting. It's way less scary than you think it is, and it starts to light you up. And that's the same with everybody's North Node. There's something about embracing those things that are sort of foreign to you and don't feel that super comfortable, that when you do, it just lights you up. And then you want more, and then you want more, and then you want more. I mean, and again, that's the soul's whole plan is
Right.
that if you just have the guts to move towards that North Node and embrace whatever its lessons are, that it will really turn something on inside of you that you didn't even know you had. It's such a beautiful thing to witness as I've done readings for those who I've seen really embracing their North Node, even just to see the expression on their face when they talk about things related to that. They're just lit up and excited and feel purpose fueled. It's just woven into your DNA in this lifetime. It really is. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. I think for this one specific, I remember during an astrology reading I had, she had mentioned instead of, like the Taurus work hard,
Mhm.
very earthy,
Yes.
go in the Scorpio end of that would be like look into investing or look into Bitcoin or all these uncomfortable
Yes.
financial
That's
situations. So
that's brilliant. I love that insight because yeah, that could be considered scary. It's risky.
Yeah.
That's a financial risk, but it's putting yourself out there and allowing to push those edges a little bit, especially around, security, financial security, those
Yeah.
types of things, like your comfort zone being what it is. That's great advice. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? Engage in practices that connect you to transformation. So, tantra, alchemy, sacred sexuality, mysticism. Because remember, Scorpio is into what is considered taboo. It's not always polite conversation. It's willing to talk about things like sex, money, things that are not brought up necessarily in polite society. So, sacred sexuality and tantra and those types of things can actually be really transformative, but it might make you uncomfortable until you embrace it. And then you learn you're just expanding. Really, all of these things are about having every single experience that you can have as a human being, right? So you're just expanding more and more and more the more you embrace other experiences, what is outside of your comfort zone. Journal on, what am I holding on to that is keeping me small? That's a great question for this placement. And your affirmation for the Scorpio North Node is, I surrender to transformation. Through releasing what is safe, I awaken to what is sacred. Because there's a real spiritual element too to Scorpio, a lot like Pisces. There is spiritual depth to this as well as psychological. Okay, North Node in Sagittarius, South Node in Gemini. Your soul is evolving from lifetimes of cleverness, adaptability, and mental agility into a life of a broader vision, spiritual growth, dedication to a higher path, and trust in something greater than yourself. And that's another thing within worldview. Evolutionary astrology really comes from a worldview of there is something greater than us. Whatever you want to call it. Some people say source, creator, spirit, God. And coming from a religious background myself, I know that some people are sensitive around certain words. If you have a little bit of religious trauma like myself, sometimes the word God can feel triggering because it takes you back to dogmatic belief. But regardless, there is a real sense woven into evolutionary astrology that there is something greater than us, and that thing is love, complete, unconditional, unadulterated love. And it cares for you so incredibly much. So having that worldview and a trust in that, especially with this placement, trusting something greater than yourself that cares for you, that loves you, that has a plan in place, that you are in co-creation with. So with the South Node and Gemini, you've mastered communication, social charm, and the art of gathering facts. But you may have struggled with scattered focus or overthinking. Again, that's a very much in the mind. Gemini can be scattered, easily distracted, and really kind of ruminate and spin on a lot of different thoughts. The Sagittarius North Node path calls for expansion, to rise above the details, which Gemini are great at details, but to rise above the details and see the bigger picture. I always talk about Sagittarius as zoom out. And then when you think you've zoomed out as far as you can, zoom out some more, right? Like all the way out to, like I said, the creator of the universe and all that is. Zoom all the way out to the big, big picture. And then your tiny little detailed problems get very, very small, very, very small. And you really move out of your head and into soul more in spirit. The Sagittarius North Node path calls for expansion, to rise above the details. You're being asked to follow your intuition. Again, we're talking about more of a spiritual path rather than logic alone, and to trust in life's unfolding wisdom. This is the soul's journey from curiosity and indecision to conviction and a true belief system for yourself, however that looks for you. This is not prescriptive. It's an exploration of what a spiritual path means to you, and absolutely no judgment. If it's more religious and dogmatic and you like structure and rules and boundaries, and that really suits your soul, that's beautiful. Or if you're more into expansive spirituality and a lot of more open concepts, that's beautiful too. But find something bigger than yourself to believe in, something beyond this world and the 3D. So, practical application. Engage in spiritual study or higher education. Travel to expand your perspective. Other cultures will teach you so much. Teach what you know, formally or informally. There is a fear for Gemini, South Node particularly, that they don't have enough information yet to teach. They're always trying to gather more information. I don't know enough yet. I don't know enough yet. You do. Trust what you know. Trust that you have gathered knowledge, you have gathered wisdom, and you can teach others. Reflect on what you believe, not just what you think. air to fire. Fire is belief, it's spirit. Air is more all in the mind. Journal on what truth is calling me. What do I know deep in my bones? What do I intuit? What do I feel as true in my body versus out logicking your intuition? Reduce mental noise to make space for inner knowing. And your affirmation is, I follow my truth with courage and grace. My soul expands through meaning, spirituality, wisdom, and wild trust in something beyond my known world. All right, North Node in Capricorn, South Node in Cancer. You are coming from lifetimes of emotional bonding, nurturing, family caretaking, and an inward orientation or an introversion, which can manifest as self-protection. If we think about Cancer, Cancer's got its shell and it wants to retreat into its shell when it feels threatened. So there's a real kind of self-protection and defensiveness sometimes with this placement. However, your soul is calling you into a path that takes you into the world in more about building a legacy in the form of leadership, responsibility, and manifesting or building something real and lasting. Again, we're talking about an earth sign. We're coming from water to earth. So it's about being human and creating something tangible and real and lasting. So with the South Node in Cancer, you know how to nurture and to protect and tend to the emotional needs of others. But you may have remained hidden in your comfort zone, afraid to leave the safety of home or familiarity. So now with the Capricorn North Node, it's asking you to rise, to lead with integrity, and take on soul-aligned responsibility, not as a burden, but as a sacred act of contribution in service to the collective. So some practical application for you is set long-term goals and work towards them consistently. Practice boundary setting with compassion and firmness. Take small, steady steps toward your leadership potential. Journal, where am I to take responsibility? And what legacy do I wish to leave behind? Balance emotional expression with grounded action. I want to emphasize too that this doesn't mean that you have to create something massive or just, create some huge company and make a ton of money. And by legacy, I don't mean, and I've left millions of dollars to my children. It's however you want it to look, but it's more the concept of it. Don't feel pressured that you have to be the next billionaire CEO. It's not, it's whatever this looks like to you. And it is small incremental steps. It's understanding a bigger picture and outside of your home and your internal life and your family life. And really hold on to the sweet, caring, nurturing, beautiful, heart-centered soul that you have, because Cancer is such a lovely sign. Don't lose sight of that, but find the bravery to take that out into the world and to create something of meaning for yourself and others. And your affirmation is, I rise with steadiness and dedication. My vision is worthy of building, and I have the strength and ability to create something lasting as my gift to the world. All right, Aquarius North Node and Leo South Node. You are evolving from lifetimes of personal visibility, creative expression, and charismatic leadership. A Leo South Node has sort of a regalness to it that comes with the feeling or need to be special. You have so many beautiful gifts from your South Node, but this life is about taking all of that into the world through collaboration, innovation, and visionary thinking. With a Leo South Node, you've likely been the performer, the beloved, the admired one, possibly even royalty. You've learned to lead from the heart, but sometimes becoming overly identified with praise, drama, or control. There's a real need to feel special and feel seen with this South Node. The Aquarius North Node calls you into the realm of the collective. You're here to share your gifts for the greater good, to detach from a more ego-driven, self-oriented expression and step into the role of conscious visionary. It's time to lead from the spotlight, but from a higher perspective of the good of all. Because again, with that Leo South Node, you have these incredible gifts of creativity and joy and self-expression and all of these things. And the world needs you. The world needs you to step into a broader view and take all those gifts into something innovative that's a gift to the world. Practical application. Collaborate on projects that benefit others. Explore technology, social reform, or futuristic concepts. Remember, Aquarius is very futuristic. It's very technologically driven. It's very futuristic. It's almost like the future coming back to tell us, like, this is the direction that we're headed, right? So you're thinking towards the future and what is best for humanity. Engage with communities that value authenticity and shared purpose. Journal on where can I shift from me to we. Balance emotional warmth with intellectual clarity and let go of outdated roles that keep you in the spotlight. So, an affirmation for you is I belong to something greater. My gifts serve the whole, and I am free to evolve beyond my ego. And I think we have such a negative connotation of ego. Ego is just, this is who I am. It's not like, this is who I am and screw you. Right? Like ego, we have just such as this bad, like ego is bad. Ego is not bad. Ego is necessary. If you don't have ego, you don't know who you are and you're just blending in with like, you don't have boundaries. We need an ego to even be a human. It's essential. So ego is not bad. It's just understanding, okay, this is who I see myself as, but how can this serve something greater than just me? That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's okay to have an ego, people. Okay, our final pairing is the North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo. And this is my nodal placement. So this one is very personal to me. I feel it deeply. So your soul has lived lifetimes of analysis, control, perfectionism, healing, and service to others. In this life, your soul is calling you into the realm of spiritual development over physical manifestation. We're moving from earth to water. This is all about surrender, trust, and connection with the divine. Remember, Pisces is the oneness of all things. Pisces is where the veil is thinnest between our world and other realms. It is fully asking for surrender and trust in the divine, which is very hard. And I'm speaking from experience now. Very hard for Virgo South Node or Virgo placements in general have a very hard time trusting. It's very easy to be in worry, self-criticism, perfectionism, and wanting to control, especially around physical things in your world and wanting to make sure that you have enough money and you're safe and you're secure instead of allowing spirit to take care of you. It's not about laziness because trust me, with a Virgo South Node, you're never going to be lazy. It's just not possible. It's not about that, but this is truly about let go and let God, right? And say, offering up in prayer or meditation or however that looks for you, what the desires of your heart are, and asking Source to bring that into your life and then trusting that that will happen. And that doesn't mean that you just get to sit by and do nothing. There's this real weaving of the two different things. We're balancing these two things. But it's learning to really trust. I always talk about Pisces as the trust fall into the arms of the universe. Just you're on the cliff edge over the ocean and you just turn backwards and you just fall and you go, all right, I believe you're going to catch me, right?
Yeah.
So the Pisces North Node calls you to soften, to let go of needing all the answers and allow the universe to guide your path. This lifetime is about faith, compassion, imagination, and the art of being rather than doing. Virgo always feels like it needs to do. And there's a tendency to feel like you're never quite enough. You're not doing enough. You're not enough, but you are. You are fully enough because you are this spiritual being that is so deeply loved by the creator of the universe and that your value is intrinsic without you having to ever done a single thing. You do not have to earn love. You do not have to earn your value. So some practical application for you is keep a dream journal and explore meditation, art, music. Practice letting go of control in daily life. Small rituals of surrender. Start small. I promise you, it gets easier. Spend time in nature or water to reconnect with flow. This one is big. Get grounded, be in nature. And that's a really wonderful way to connect with spirit as well, because you are in creation. You are tangibly in the world and you can watch nature be taken care of. Most of nature isn't worried about, about anything. It's just in flow. Say yes to awe, wonder, and the intangible. Some journal prompts for you are, what am I ready to release? Where can I trust more deeply? And your affirmation is, I surrender to grace. I am guided, supported, and whole. Even when I do not have the answers, my value is intrinsic simply for being, not for what I produce or do.
So, with this being yours, maybe now would be a good time to kind of run through an example. So, what house because you take your North Node and your South Node, and then you look at what house they're in. So, do you want to kind of run through yours as just an example so people know
Yeah.
how?
I would love to. Yes. So I have the nodes really directly on the cusp of two different houses. So my nodal story I kind of read into both the 8th and 2nd and the 9th and 3rd. But for the sake of this, I'm going to talk about the 9th and 3rd because it is the most relevant, I believe. So my Pisces North node is in the 3rd and my South node Virgo is in the 9th. And for me, the way that that is played out, the 9th is what Sagittarius rules. And so it is again about expansion, higher learning, belief, religion, specifically religion here. And there's some dogma. There are rules here. It is very much, this is the way things are, right? So in my younger years, we've talked about this. I was raised in a pretty strict religious home. Very loving. I have to always emphasize, like, it wasn't what you might be picturing, but there were a lot of rules. There was a lot of boundaries. And there was a very much, this is right, this is wrong. There wasn't much room for exploration, for questions, for any sort of like openness, especially when it came to spirit, to God. It was, this is what this book says, and there are no questions. You have all the answers. Here they are in this book, right? And I had a very hard time adopting that as my own because I was being told something, but I hadn't really integrated it through experience and through gnosis, that felt sense. My inner compass just was not connecting. And I tried so hard, like a true Virgo South node. I worked so hard at doing the right thing, following the rules, to the point where I had so much, again, Virgo South node, so much anxiety around if I crossed a line or was outside of these boundaries. And I was slowly suffocating. And the self-hatred that developed in for me just escalated more and more and more. The more quote unquote mistakes I made, the more human I was, the harsher I was on myself because I was not living up to this standard that had been presented to me. So now we talk about third house Pisces. And third house is what Gemini rules. So it's about curiosity. It's about asking the questions. It's about, let's talk about this. Let's throw out this idea. What do you think of this? Let's explore without needing all of the answers. And then we have Pisces, which is this incredibly expansive, beautiful, very forgiving. If you think about the oneness of all things and this compassionate, endless, boundless love, it doesn't have these restrictions. It doesn't have all of this putting God in a box, if you will. And again, I really want to emphasize right now, if anyone who is listening has religious beliefs, this is not prescriptive. This is my journey. This is my nodal placement. You might have a north node in the 9th house, maybe in Sagittarius, and religion and the rules and the restrictions is what your soul wants. This is not my journey in this lifetime. I'm being asked into something else. So there's no judgment for me around religion. There were a lot of beautiful things that I took from it, so many wonderful things I learned, and there was a lot of love there. Okay, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm judging religion. I'm not. I'm really not. I think that there are some things about it that can turn dark. As with anything, there's a shadow side to everything. There's a shadow side to spirituality for sure versus religion. There's a shadow side in everything. So this is just for me in my particular placement. So what has been so healing for me is allowing space to ask, to explore, to trust, to allow, to trust more intuition versus books and like higher learning. And this is what it says, to trust my intuition, to tune into my gut, my heart, to meditate and to go directly to source myself in a way that feels very different today than prayer did. Because again, that was a little bit prescriptive for me as well. Like, this is how we pray versus to me now, I go directly to source and I don't necessarily need a book to tell me how to pray. And to me, sometimes that's just being in nature. I feel like I'm in prayer. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it really just highlights what is so amazing about astrology, or many reasons why. But the fact that each of us have your chart is unique to you and tells your story and
Mhm.
gives you that roadmap of this journey in your life. And we are all each on our own journey and we're all very unique. So nothing is the same.
Yes. Which is such a gift to realize because that takes you out of judgment of other people.
Yes.
Right? I have zero judgment for my parents and my family because they are following the path that was set out for them, that has brought them peace, joy, contentment, purpose. And I think that's wonderful. I would never try to convince them otherwise, So
Right.
there's no judgment of like, you realize that everybody is just on their own journey and to just encourage them to move towards what their soul is calling them towards. It's
Right.
a really beautiful thing. It gives you empathy for yourself and others.
Yes, for
And a
sure.
lot of grace.
Yeah. Understanding for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, once you really get even more down into the specifics in your chart, like we really can bring in all of the planets and how they talk to each other and how that plays a part in the story. And then that gives you even more tools to move towards your North Node. Everything can kind of point back towards that. Like, how can this placement help me achieve this? And by achieve, I don't mean there's like a pinnacle, like you have to ring the bell at the top of the mountain, like, hey, I did it. I reached my North Node. Like, it's the lifelong journey of balancing these things. And it's not like I win, I got there. It's not that type of a thing, but it's constantly moving towards that and holding the beauty and the gifts of your South Node as well.
Yes, for sure. And for those out there who are wanting to learn more about their North Node and evolutionary astrology, where can they find you?
They can find me on my website, which is yoursoulpurposeastrology.com. That's the best way. I also have Your Soul Purpose Astrology on Instagram. I'm not super active on social media. I think I have maybe 5 posts on there. I haven't really worked on building a following. Social media is one of those things that I really struggle with my Virgo South Node, with comparison and a lot of things that just don't sit right in my little heart. So I struggle with that, but I have a great website that you can book. You can email me with questions. My scheduling is on there and there's a couple different options. That's probably the best way to find me. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. I loved all of your great information about the North Node. And I feel like I learn something new every time we record a podcast or every time I hear another astrologer's different perspective on things. Because although I've studied the North and South Node, it's been not really super focused in on evolutionary astrology. So it is fun to see all the different perspectives.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I completely agree with you. I love learning from other astrologers. And I feel like I learn something new every time you and I talk. And I just am all about expanding and learning and growing. So this was fun for me. You can tell this is where my heart is. You can tell I get excited about this. So thank you all for listening. And we will chat at you again in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us under the stars today. We hope you're leaving feeling inspired, grounded, and more connected to your inner truth.
And if you loved this episode, we would be so grateful if you would subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone you love.
If you're ready to explore your soul's path through psychological, evolutionary astrology, and personal astrological coaching, you can find Mari at yoursoulpurposeastrology.com or follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Your Soul Purpose Astrology.
And if you're ready to illuminate your birth chart and explore how essential oils can support your emotional and energetic alignment, you can find Jody at earthandskyessentials.com or at Earth and Sky Essentials on Facebook and Instagram.
And remember, your soul is always guiding you.
The magic starts within.